Coach Smith about connecting with the Horatio Williams Foundation and making local connections. How important is it?
I think
to
that's
start that?
huge. I think that's huge. Connecting with someone that has close ties in the area, I think that's huge in terms of us growing as a university.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it.
Are you just adjusting to East Lansing in this weather?
Oh, the weather's the weather. It's always going to be the weather. So as long as we got a building I can come live in, and that's what happens. So I'm married to the building, so to speak. I'm get here early and leave late. So the weather is really not a factor.
How much
went
did
into
you?
your decision to follow Coach Smith here, and why'd you want to be a part of all this?
Man, that's a good question. When you look at what Coach Smith brings to the table, he's always going to preach a place of substance, getting the best out of young men, helping guys to grow on a day in, day out basis as people, as men. And then as ball player, I get an opportunity to coach those guys. So why not? I mean, when you look at what he stands for and what he was able to do at the last spot we were at, I think it was only fitting that I follow in his footsteps.
How was the continuity help pass the message to the new guys?
That's big now. It's big, and so it helps to kind of speed up the process a little bit, just having that continuity. But it's been awesome to see the new additions as well, because they bring a different look on the program and a different flavor to the program. So you're working with Demetrius Martin, Joe Rossi, and those guys have been successful at their last stops. And so I'm excited to work with those guys in addition to the guys that came over from the last place.
Hey, if you and Demetrius kind of, how do you divvy up the back end there?
Oh, so that dude there, he can do it all. I mean, he's a wealth of information. I'm more so picking his brain every chance I get. And so sometimes you have the corners, the safeties, the nickel. I'm trying to learn as much from him as I possibly can.
Pass defense that struggled under the previous staff. Just broad picture of how much did you look at the film last year? Just watching.
I mean, last year's tape is last year's tape. You got to take who you have now and trying to get those guys to play better. And so that's the task, is to get those guys to play at a level that would allow us to be successful on the back end. And so that's the focus there.
The guys have talked about being more aggressive than the previous team. I guess how would you?
I don't know that it's more aggressive. Anytime they can play fast, I think it looks like that, it translates that way. And so just getting those guys to play fast, I think is the key. And make the plays when they get there. I think that's a big part to it.
What is the challenge of coming in here and with like all new staff, all new culture needs to be established and everything, and knowing what this group last year went through with just how tumultuous that season was for them and trying to help, I guess, like reinvigorate it?
I think whether you coming to a new spot or not, I mean, that's the task, getting guys to play better than they played last year. And so I think that's where it's at. It's just getting those guys to play better, and you got some guys that can play ball here. And so what happened last year is kind of what happened last year. And so what can you do to make them better? How can you get them better?
How is that clay that you get to mold with
Oh
those
man,
guys?
it's a bunch of guys on the back end that I think can play at a high level. And so we're just training the little things, just getting them to believe in the small, the details. And so it'll translate, I believe. I hope so.
You've got some youth, but you've got some experience. As young guys with experience, I guess, back there. How much is that a benefit for?
Yeah, I think it's a good mixture. For those guys that have played significant snaps on the back end, then you got some new guys that still waiting to cut their teeth on the back end. So I think the old guys are doing a phenomenal job in leading the way, so to speak.
You mentioned there's some players that you think can play at a high level. You want to share some names with us about who's impressed you?
We're still a work in progress. But when you start if you made me, I think Mangum is a big time player. I think Malik Spencer is a big time player. DT is a big time player. You got Chance Rucker, who's a young dude. You got Chuck that have been here and kind of. So you have some guys on that back end that can do it. It's just we got to stay healthy. Got to be lucky that way, and just allow those men to be great.
What do you see for Tatum? Because he's been all over since he's been here.
Versatility is always great, isn't it?
You know,
So he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Just throw him in and let him work. So he's from a football IQ standpoint, he's good, and so just allowing him to take on any role that he possibly wants to, I think that's the way.
so he could still end up multiple places, I guess, by the end of this.
Yeah, I think so.
This roster was built for playing a lot of dime think 4? Do you see?
I want to stop the run, eliminate explosive plays, get turnovers. So whatever we got to put on the grass to get that done, then that's what we'll do.
Would you do multiple? Do you want to play all 3 coverages if possible with
Yeah,
nickel,
whatever.
dime,
Well,
base?
the first thing I think is important is that we find out what the other team, the opponent, can do.
Yeah.
Now, what do we have to do in order to be successful against them? I think that's where you go. If that means you got to take all the DBs off the grass, that'll be horrible.
Angelo Gross has played some nickel, he's played some safety. Where's he kind of fitting in right
Man, that dude there, he's small. He's not fast. He's this, he's that. You can't stop that dude from not making plays. Like you can, you like him this and you like him that, and I'm pleased with how he's kind of developed and kind of lead the charge. He's kind of leading us in terms of the back room. Like he's another guy that I failed to mention that should lead us to turning it around. So I'm excited about him as well as the others.
What's the characteristic of your defense once the season gets started? What's one thing we're going to continue to see about them with your fingerprint on it?
I would say playing physical. I would like to see that. That's kind of the message. We got to be a physical bunch. Although we on the back end, we still want to be physical, want to fly around.
How best can you translate that or transfer that, I should say, to your players, the physicality aspect?
Right now, it's just about learning assignment. And I think as they start to get more comfortable with that, they'll play a lot faster. And the impacts of the game just kind of be waiting on us. But playing fast, I think, is understanding what we're asking them to do and playing fast. I think you're on your way to playing physical.
I think
No, you're not from the area. I don't think you're from Florida, right? Originally,
Sometimes.
and coached out there. I'm just wondering, when you were at the Lions for a little bit, did you gain any understanding what this program was about and what they try to?
Well,
historically?
I've kind of from afar, kind of just watched Michigan State ball, and so my experience is that they were big, they were physical, they was blue collar, like they work hard, and so those are some of the same things that we're trying to instill in the secondary here, and so when you got a guy like Demetrius Martin that's lived that life and know what it feels like, it's easy to kind of tap into that energy and kind of get our guys to walk that path.
Do you see his passion, I guess, for the place on display, or what's
Yeah,
he taught you in
he's
that
been trying to
regard?
take me to all those little spots, all the eateries, although they've changed since he's been here. But like I said, he's a good resource, both on and off the grass for me.
You talked about physicality. Have you had a chance to test that yet, or not quite yet? Because
No, it's there. It's there. I hadn't tested yet, but we planting those seeds.
Denson is a true freshman.
Yes,
And what's on his plate right now? How's he coming along?
nothing. He's just a true freshman, and we'll see. We'll see what he can do. Like it's one thing to practice, but we all know that when we get in those stadiums and how big those stadiums and loud, you got to make sure we're still locked into the small details before we can even make one play. And so, he's a young dude. I think he has talent. I think he has a chance. But again, it's a process for us.
Helps that he doesn't have to jump right in with the veterans in front of him too, I would imagine, for some of
Yeah,
those younger guys.
that would be good. But if he's the guy, he's the guy now.
Right.
So we'll let him go.
This is a bit
Last
of
one
a
for Coach.
Is this a learning process for you as well in the spring with Rossi's system, trying to figure that all out, and how is just the whole defensive staff of guys coming
Yeah,
together?
yeah. It's a lot of dialogue going on in those meetings. I think the thing that we do have is that we're a veteran group. We've done it at the places that we're at. So having that sounding board where you can talk and kind of talk through ball and see how you guys did it, how we did it, how you did it, I think that's always good in strengthening the defensive philosophy scheme.
Very good.